All right, guys, so it is printing time. So we have our ink plate over here that you made last week. I'm gonna need a white piece of paper, preferably a pen for this one. You can use a pencil if you need to. Just know that we actually cannot erase this. So even if you're using a pencil, it won't work to do any erasing, which is why I like to always use a pen with it, because then I don't even think about that being a possibility. And you might want a pair of scissors. You don't have to have a pair of scissors for this, but you may want one, because I'm actually going to take my big paper and I'm going to cut it into a few smaller pieces of paper. You may just want to make one big image. It's up to you. So I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to cut this into 4 smaller papers. And I'm just going to fold it in half and in half again. Once again, you don't have to do this part. You can just use a big paper, but I want to make a couple smaller images instead of just one big one. So I'm going to cut that apart, and then I'm just going to cut right on those fold lines. That just helps me get a more even size paper. I don't end up with like 2 really big ones and 2 really small ones. But the thing you will be doing today, guys, you will need to draw 4 things. So they can be 4 things that all go together on one piece of paper, or they can be 4 separate things, which is why I'm kind of cutting mine apart. So now I have my 4 smaller pieces of paper, and I'm going to make a series of 4 prints off of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paper, and I'm going to show you actually 2 different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to take my paper here, and like I said, I'm going to do it 2 different ways. The first way that you can transfer this on to your paper is I am going to, and with these smaller sheets it might be a little harder, I'm going to take one of my smaller sheets and I'm actually going to flip my ink plate over and lay it on top of my smaller sheet of paper. The only tricky thing with this is you have to know where this paper is under yours. So I'm going to kind of set it in a corner so I kind of know it's just kind of this top corner. So this is my ink plate face down and then my other paper on top. And what you're going to be drawing, and you guys saw in some of the earlier slides of this, is you are going to be drawing 4 winter themed things, whether it is snowflakes, whether it's, you know, penguins or snow-covered trees or snowmen, or if you want to draw a polar bear or you want to draw someone sledding. There's 4 winter-themed things. Just remember, one of those things has to have a symmetrical snowflake in it. Do not forget, you have to include a symmetrical snowflake somewhere in your picture. So I'm going to go with this top one, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my snowflake first so I don't forget. So I know my paper's up in this top corner where I'm drawing. I can always look down, double check. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw my snowflake out. So I'm going to draw big X. And the big thing, guys, is once again, you can't erase. So I am doing this one in pencil, but I'm going to show you, like, you cannot go through and erase because it's already transferring onto your paper below. So whatever you're drawing here is already transferring. So if I went through and I erased this, it may erase on this paper, but it's not going to erase off of this paper. So that's a big reason why I say just use a pen, because you can't erase it anyways, so you might as well. That way you don't trick yourself into thinking it can be fixed. So and you need to press pretty hard with this, guys. You don't want to go through too soft or you're really going to be tripped up. So I'm going to go through, create my snowflake design, making sure I'm doing the same thing on each one of the little arms of the snowflake. Because that's how I keep it symmetrical. pressing really hard with there, so I'm kind of going through that. And then I'm gonna add some little dot designs in the middle. And then I'm just gonna add some little kind of simple snowflakes around it. And some little dots, kind of look like tiny snow falling. And you see, I'm not trying really hard not to move my paper too much because I don't want those papers to slide around and me to lose that. So when I'm done drawing my image, I can pull this up, and they may be kind of stuck together like mine are. And when I pull these apart, the image I just drew shows up on this paper, but it shows up in all of the colors that I drew on here. So you can kind of see it's a little hard in the camera, but it's kind of like a rainbow on mine because I used a lot of different colors. And you might even be able to really lightly see it. You can see some of my lines in your ink plate. So that's one way to do it, where I have drawn, and now it's on the back of this. Now I could take something else and I could keep drawing in that same area, but it gets a little confusing. So the other way you can do this is, instead of putting this face down and drawing on the back of this paper, you can put one of your pages wherever you want it on here, lay it down on the front so you're kind of seeing where it is. So it might be a little easier then to tell where you're drawing, and you can add it in this way. So this time I've drawn my snowflake, so I don't necessarily have to include a snowflake on this one, but I could, but I'm still keeping it winter themed. Got his hat, and I'm just gonna give him 2 parts because my paper is a little small, so I don't think I can do too much more, but I am gonna add a scarf. And then I'm just gonna give him one, I kind of do the snow at the bottom, one big oval body instead of 2 snowballs that kind of make up his bottom half. Give him some buttons. Some stripes on his scarf. Oh, and his arms. I'm going to kind of do a jagged line since it's a stick. And that wouldn't be a perfectly straight line there. And I'm going to add a little pattern to the hat too. And then when I'm done, pulling it off, and I can look and see, and it's just a really cool way to like make almost this like tie-dye line rainbow, where, you know, that's not something you can really draw with if you don't have a pencil or a pen that changes colors as it moves. So it's just a really cool way to get some really fun, colorful kind of pictures and drawings. So you guys are going to create at least 4 winter images. Now that could be, guys, that you take a whole piece of paper, if I can find one, a whole piece of paper, lay it down on here, and draw one big picture that has at least 4 winter things. You might go through, draw some snow, you have a snowman, some snowflakes falling, a tree, and a little gingerbread house. Or you have a person out in the snow or mitten or something like that. You can have it all as one thing as long as you have 4 wintry items somewhere in your picture. So I'm gonna go through and do 2 more, and then we'll see. All right, so guys, hopefully when you're done, and you can do way more than just 4 if you want to, hopefully when you are done, you have pulled off some really cool, fun, colorful rainbows. Experiment, have fun, play around with it. And guys, you can keep going for a while. It will continue to let you pull color that you can see as you do pull some of that color off, like here, where the purple came out from my hot chocolate. It is gonna pull away that color and you won't be able to use that spot so easily anymore. So have fun, try this, enjoy it. I love this, I think it's super cool. Submit pictures to me of all of the things that you create and keep doing. Let me know if you experiment and come up with something cool or a new way to do any of this. And you guys really have fun. Remember, I'm looking to see at least 4 winter items drawn, so 4 total. It can be on separate pieces of paper. It can be one giant piece of paper, but I want to see at least 4 objects drawn somewhere on a paper, on one large paper, on multiple small papers, on 2 medium papers, however that works that way, but give me at least 4 winter objects and items. Have fun!